I saw my first faith-based movie in well over a decade. Let's talk about The Shift. Let's talk about The Shift. The Shift movie is another movie that I thought was going to be a multiversal movie. It kind of is. I thought it was going to be like Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which was a great movie. And it made you feel and it made you really connect to those characters, even though it was crazy and it was out there and you would never imagine all of these different worlds and realities. But with this movie, it was a little bit more like The Family Man with Nicolas Cage. And if you've seen that, that's basically Scrooge. But this movie is a bit different. It's faith-based. It's supposed to be inspirational. And by the way, if you hear anything going on, some banging, I'm just getting a little bit of work done on the house. Let's go on. So, The Shift. This Shift is a faith-based movie that you want to like. And the main character is Kevin. He's actually played by, here we go, let's see if I can say his name right. Christopher Polaya. I'm sure I butchered it. But he plays Kevin, and he is the main character. And when we first see him, he's down and out on his luck, and he's just lost his job. He was a hedge fund guy, and then he meets the love of his life. He falls in love, and they have this great and magical romance. And then they get married. He becomes super happy. They have a kid, and then there's tragedy. There's always tragedy. There has to be tragedy or there's no story. But as there's tragedy, this kind of tears him and his wife apart. And they're just not on the same level as they were. And he goes to work one day, boom, there's an accident. And when he wakes up, he's being woke up by the guy that's calling himself, well, let's just call him what he is. He's the devil. He's calling himself the benefactor, but he's the devil. Now this guy is played by none other than Neil McDonough. Now Neil McDonough you might have seen in a lot of stuff as a villain. Maybe it was Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. He was Dum Dum Dugan in Captain America, but he's been in a lot of stuff. And he's a great bad guy, and he was a very good devil. Now, this movie, as you watch it, I wanted to get involved. I wanted to feel. I wanted to have this feeling for this man, because the story is really based on Job, the book of Job. And if you don't know the book of Job, you didn't go to Sunday school and you don't know your Bible stories. But let me tell you, real quick summary. Job, very happy guy, successful, great family. Devil sees he's happy, says to God, he's like, hey, this guy's only faithful to you because he's, doing really well. God's like, well, let's test him. Basically his family dies out, his fortune runs away, his health goes away, but he still has his faith. And this is super quick, by the way, that I'm telling you all this. And he ends up getting everything back ×2. Super quick way to tell you all that. Anyway, this is based kind of like that. So this is a sci-fi kind of way. It's based on different realities, different decisions that you make, how your life goes one way or the other. And this guy is the only guy that's the good Kevin in all of the realities. And he prays to God as he's sitting at the table with the devil, because he's scared to death, as you would be. You're sitting at the table with the devil. And so, lo and behold, God listens to him. Devil's gone for 5 years. And he feels like he's being tested. And he tries to be a good person as best he can. And he wants to get back to his wife. He only wants to get back to his wife. Now, I'm not going to tell you any more, really, because of the fact that, don't want to ruin the movie for you. But I will tell you this. I had a couple problems with this movie. One being, we see that he becomes, we see this quick little montage of him becoming happy, but we don't see how he becomes so faithful to God. He tells you at the beginning of the movie he hadn't gone to church since he was a kid, and he goes back to church for his wife. But what made him so faithful? It never really says, and it's just kind of irked me after I left. I'm just like, how did he just turn it on? How did he become so faithful? We don't see that. And then at the end, this is the thing that kind of got me too. There's an end credits. It's not so much an end credit scene as much as a thank you for coming to see this movie at the theater. That's a great sentiment because they want to make the money. They put up a little QR code and said if you donate a ticket to someone else, you'll get to see an extra scene that'll change your mind about this whole movie. And that's where I have a problem. I get wanting to have people come to your movie. It's a Christian inspirational movie. Not a lot of people are going to flock to this movie. It's a good movie, but if you're trying to manipulate people to come and watch the movie by saying, hey, if you pay this little bit extra, we'll let you have a totally different opinion about whatever we shot and wasn't in the movie. If you're going to do that, put the put the clip in the movie. Don't manipulate people into like, well, I got to do it no matter what. If I really like this movie, I should see what it was. I didn't do that. You might really want to know. If you do, tell me what that scene was. I'd love to know what it was, but I'm not going to pay the money to go see it, or pay the money to go to the website and see it. Speaking of which, tell me if you liked this movie. Tell me if you liked how everything came down, and tell me what you honestly thought of this movie. I know there's a lot of people that actually saw this movie this weekend. It opened up on December 1st. Tell me if you liked it. Tell me if you like this. Subscribe as well, and then let me know, and maybe I'll say something else later about it. But until next time, we'll see you at the movies.